Hello, my dear students. Myself Rita Rani, and today I am going to explain third and the last part of chapter number 4, Forest Society and Colonialism, from History section of class 9th. But before moving towards the explanation part, I would like to request you all, please subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now. Press the bell icon for further notifications. And if you like this video, please give your likes and share it with your friends also. Thank you. Now let's move to the explanation part. Here, introduction of the chapter, which I have already explained in the first part. Deforestation. What is deforestation? I explained in part number 1. Causes of deforestation in India. I am showing you few points. Already explained in part 1. Rise of commercial forestry. Students, these are the topics which are already explained in part 1 and 2. Rise of commercial forestry. How were the lives of the people affected? At the time of commercial forestry, new laws were made, forest inspector was appointed, forest department was made, and because of those laws, people were very badly affected. And not only the life of the people, but cultivation practice, especially shifting cultivation practice, was also very badly affected. Actually, it was banned. And not only shifting cultivation was banned, hunting was also banned. And because of all these things, because of these new forest laws, new trades, employments and services came. But always new opportunities cannot be beneficial for all. So lots of people suffered a lot. And because of those sufferings, Bastar revolt took place. Finally, the rebellions got victory, and reservation of the forest means when in reserve forest people were not allowed to enter. That reservation of the forest was suspended, and it was the great victory of that Bastar revolt. So in the first and the second part, students, I have already explained what was the condition of forest people during colonialism. And in this third and the last part, I will explain what was the condition of forest people in Java when Dutch government was there. As in India, British rule was there. In the same way, in Indonesia, Dutch rule was there. And in Java, actually Java is a small island in Indonesia. In the present time, it is famous for the production of rice. It is famous as a rice producing island. But once upon a time, it was famous for its dense forest also. And forest laws in India and forest laws in Java, there were so many similarities. Java was the place where Dutch started forest management first. And in India, British government started forest management. And like in India, here timber of Indian forests that was used for British industries. They used our timber for their shipbuilding industry, for their railway sleepers. And in the same way, Dutch government used Java forest trees for their shipbuilding and railway sleepers. Next heading, woodcutters of Java. In Java, there was a community named Kalangs. And the people of this community were very skillful woodcutters. They were so talented that they were considered as a precious property of Java. And when Mataram Kingdom was the kingdom of Java and it was splitted in two parts. When that kingdom was split, that kingdom was divided. At that time, 6,000 Kalang families were divided between two kingdoms. Can you imagine? People were also divided. Those Kalangs were skillful woodcutters, they were experts, and without them, cutting off Java's dense forest trees and the building of King's Palace, that was almost impossible. They were so talented that even Dutch government was trying to make those Kalang people work under them, and they wanted to make them work under their control just to exploit their talents for the benefits of their own industries. And finally, Kalangs revolted for their survival. When they realized that they were being exploited by the Dutch people, then they raised their voice and they started revolt. But unfortunately, their uprising was suppressed by Dutch forces. Same happened in India with our forest people also. British forces suppressed their voice, and same happened in Java. Now, scientific forestry in Java. Forest laws were enacted in Java. Villagers resisted these laws. Forest timber was used for ships and railway sleepers. Dutch government used Bland-Dongenstein system for extracting free labor from the villagers. Many questions are rising in the mind of the students. So just wait, I'm going to explain. In 19th century, the Dutch government enacted forest laws in Java. Like in India, Java also forest people were restricted to enter the forest. As in India, forest people were not allowed to enter. In the same way, in Java, forest people were not allowed to enter the forest. And if they entered, they were punished. Even they were punished for grazing cattle, transporting wood without permit, or traveling on forest roads with horse cart or any other cattle, etc. Now, wood cutting was allowed only for a specified purpose, like vote making and house construction, under the supervision of their forest department. And from which forest that wood cutting was allowed, that was also decided by the forest department of Dutch government. As in India, in the same way in Java also, in 1882, 280,000 sleepers, railway sleepers were exported. Like from India, timber was exported to British industries. In the same way, from Java also, timber was exported, and in 1882, 280,000 sleepers, railway sleepers were exported. For all this cutting work, lots of labor was required, and for that, Dutch government released few villagers from paying rents on cultivation. Means in Java, villagers were paying rents for cultivation on the land. So they were released that they will not pay the rent, but one condition was there: if they provide free labor. If they collectively provide free labor for cutting and transporting timber, then they would not pay rent for cultivation. And this system of paying, serving free labor or free service, means they were not taking any wages, they were giving their services without any wages, only their rents were exempted. So this system was called Bland-Dongenstein. The system was called Blandong Dinsten. So this was the condition of the village people living in the forest. After this exploitation, means exploitation of those poor forest people, at it was in its extreme form. So obviously when exploitation is too much, then it results into revolt. And same happened in Java also. In Java, Surontiko Saman was a great rebellion from a small village of Java. He started a great movement in Java on the basis of his argument. He used to say that natural resources like forests, wind, water, etc. cannot be created by any state, any government, any person. Therefore, no government can claim to own it. In his movement, he got a great support from his sons-in-law, and by 1907, 3,000 families followed his revolutionary ideas. Means the ideas which he expressed, those ideas were supported by lots of people. And finally, he got victory in spreading awareness among forest village communities. And now the next heading is wars, world wars and deforestation. Means at that time, World War I and World War II. What was the impact of those world wars on forest? World War I and II created a great impact on forests. Like in India, Britishers were ruling over our country. So forest trees were cut at a large scale, but not for our own country, to meet the requirements of the European industries, to meet their requirements of the war needs. On the other hand, in Java, Dutch government, they burned the forest. They burned the huge piles of the logs so that Japanese could not use that timber. Japan was also involved in World War I and II, and Dutch government did not want that forest property should be used by Japanese. That is why they destroyed the valuable timber, that valuable logs. Huge piles were burned by Dutch government. But later on, Japan got hold over Java forests and exploited those forests recklessly to meet their own war requirements. As in India, Britishers were using our property for their requirements, to fulfill their requirements. In the same way, Japanese destroyed Java forest property to fulfill their own requirements. Many villagers used this opportunity for cultivation. When trees were cut, forests were destroyed, so vacant land was available. So many villagers used those vacant land for cultivation. And after the war, it became very difficult for Indonesian people, Indonesian Forest Service, to get that land back. Naturally, it is very difficult. Again, same forest cannot be grown. New developments in forestry means after this long journey, now in the present time, new developments have come. Now we have realized the importance of forests. And this realization came many years before. Since 1980s, governments across Asia and Africa, they realized the scientific forestry as well as the policy of keeping away forest communities from the forest. Means scientific forestry, and they thought that forest people should be kept away from the forest. Both the policies which were adopted by forest department became the cause of great conflicts in the country. Scientific forestry also, and village people should not be kept away from the forest. So these two steps which were adopted by the forest department in 1980s, it was realized that these two steps caused great conflict in the country. Now importance of forest conservation was realized, that forests are very important, they are very much valuable, they should be protected. And to achieve this target, to protect forest property, forest communities involvement is very much important. And in many states like Mizoram and Kerala, etc., dense forest could survive just because of the involvement of forest communities. Here, forest communities cooperated a lot. They take these forests as their own property. That is why they take care of these forests. They love it, they worship it, and they serve their services to protect these forests also. Protection of the forest is not only the duty of forest guards. Forest people also, they should also help them by patrolling their forest. And in the present time, our environmentalists are also thinking different forms of forest management. So in the present time, we all are trying our best to save this precious natural resource, because without forest, wildlife is not possible. And to maintain environmental balance, each and everything is important in this environment. These trees, wildlife, everything is important. We should protect them, and protection of this environment is not only the duty of government, we all should cooperate in it. So that's all for this chapter, my students. Explanation is complete. Here few questions I'm giving, just look at here, you can note down these questions. So the first one is, what was the role of plantations in the decline of forest area? Second one, differentiate between the views of villagers and forest department on what a good forests look like. What were the provisions of the Forest Act 1878? Why did the Forest Act mean service hardship to the villagers? Next, how were the criminal tribes harassed by the Britishers? And the last one, why did the Dutch enact forest laws in Java? That's all for this chapter, my dear students. Thank you very much. We will meet in the next video with a new chapter. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.